Welcome to a grand evening at the historic Versailles Palace, where French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte are hosting a royal banquet to honor the visit of King Charles and Queen Camilla. The atmosphere is enhanced by the mesmerizing tune of the military band, setting the tone for a truly grand evening. The palace grounds are buzzing with excitement as guests from various walks of life arrive for this prestigious event. Let's take a closer look at the star-studded arrivals. Britain's King Charles and Queen Camilla arrived at the Palace of Versailles on Wednesday for a banquet given in their honor by French President Emmanuel Macron. Along with the royals, a long list of prominent guests from show business, sports, and the business world were invited. Our evening begins with the regal arrivals of King Charles and Queen Camilla at Versailles Palace. The crowd eagerly awaits their presence. As they step out of their car, they are warmly welcomed by French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte. The four share a moment of greetings and even pose for paparazzi. Cameras flash as the royal and presidential couples pose for pictures. Their elegance and grace are captivating. On the menu of the dinner were blue lobster and a selection of French and English cheeses. France, a country that prides itself on its many fine cheeses, has honored a British blue cheese by placing it on the menu for a banquet for Britain's King Charles at the Palace of Versailles on Wednesday. French President Emmanuel Macron hosts Charles and his wife Queen Camilla during their 3-day visit to France, with the state dinner in the famed Hall of Mirrors at the former French royal palace a particular highlight. The menu will feature blue lobster, brie French poultry with mushroom gratin, and a selection of French and English cheeses, including Comté from France and Stichelton from Britain, according to Macron's office. Contrary to the often held view that you can't find any decent food in England, it's totally untrue. You can find great products there, and especially great cheese. Alsatian cheesemonger Bernard Anthony, who picked the cheese selection for the royal dinner, told local newspaper. Stichelton is a blue cheese similar to Stilton, except that it does not use pasteurized milk. The name comes from an ancient farm of the name of Stilton village in Cambridgeshire, England. It was named one of the world's top 5 cheeses by French chef Annie-Sophie Pic, who is in charge of the lobster and crab starters at the state dinner. Charles arrived in France earlier on Wednesday for a 3-day state visit, during which he and Macron will hope to build on symbolism and personal bonds to turn the pages on the year of rocky relations between the two nations. After flames engulfed France's Notre Dame Cathedral in 2019, Britain's future King Charles III wrote to President Emmanuel Macron, describing his heartbreak and offering his help and advice on the restoration. Now, more than 4 years on, the monarch toured France on a royal visit and inspect the site of the inferno that stirred memories of the blaze that swept through his own family's home of Windsor Castle in 1992. The trip will be filled with many such personal touches and moments of symbolism as Britain and France seek to rebuild ties tested by the bitter and chaotic years of Brexit. The 74-year-old king and the 45-year-old president will set out to build on a relationship already blustered by their communications over Notre Dame and their shared interests in climate and heritage, royal aides said. Elizabeth visited France 13 times during her reign, more than any other country in Europe, according to Buckingham Palace. On her first official visit in 1957, she had lunch with President Yanikouti in the Hall of Mirrors of the Palace of Versailles. The former French royal palace back in action on Wednesday night during a state banquet in its famed 17th century gallery, built by the Sun King to project the power and majesty of the French monarchy. The day after that, Charles and Camilla will visit the flower market named after the Queen Elizabeth on Paris's Ile de la Cité. The warm words and symbolic visits will stand in stark contrast to some of the language exchanged on more political levels in recent years. Macron's hardball tactics during the talks to negotiate Britain's departure from the European Union had prompted angry outbursts by former Prime Minister Boris Johnson and vitriol in UK tabloids. Britain's role in negotiating a security pact between the United States and Australia, torpedoing a multi-billion submarine deal the French had negotiated with Canberra, left Macron seething and brought relations to a new low. John's successor as Premier, Liz Truss, initially said the jury was out on whether France was a friend or foe, before settling on calling it a friend last year. Her successor, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, visited France in March to kick off what he called an entente renewed. The King and President have a face-to-face meeting at Versailles Palace about the war in Ukraine, the coups in Sahel, and Britain's upcoming Artificial Intelligence Summit, among other issues. The King is always very interested in the President's analysis of major international issues, an Elysee official said. They will also have plenty in common when they meet in Natural City Museum in Paris to discuss global warming. During the COP climate negotiations in Glasgow in 2021, Macron and the then Prince Charles worked together to raise funds for the Great Green Wall initiative, which aimed to plant an 8,000-kilometer band of trees across Africa. Charles convinced Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos to give $1 billion to the scheme, Macron said at the time as he raced to his presidential plane on his way back to Paris. It's Prince Charles who made Bezos come, Macron said. He is very committed on the environment and has been for a long time, and he is a formidable believer in the friendship between France and the UK. Britain's Union Jacks lined roads near Paris's iconic monuments on Wednesday morning on the first day of King Charles' official visit to France. Although Parisians in recent days have expressed indifferences toward the trip, with many saying the king is less charismatic than his mother, Queen Elizabeth, some in the capital deemed it necessary for diplomatic relations between France and Britain. The visit comes as French and British citizens feel the pinch of inflation at multi-decade highs. And the dinner at the Palace of Versailles, a symbol of privilege, has been criticized by some as insensitive. As the sun sets over the majestic Versailles Palace, the anticipation grows for a night filled with elegance, camaraderie, and celebration. Stay tuned as we bring you more highlights from this royal banquet, where history and glamour converge in a breathtaking spectacle. Thank you for joining us for this special coverage. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest from this remarkable event.